Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Therefore I Geek podcast. Today we are going to talk about women in refrigerators. What the heck is it? What does it mean? Is it a thing? And what do we think about it? Now, before we get into that, we want to do a little news item. If you listened to last week's episode, we had a little bit of fun at the expense of Baltimore Comic-Con's weapons policy. Well, in an effort to outdo the East Coast, Chicago's Wizard World Convention has allowed a gun dealer to set up a booth at their convention, which I think was this weekend? When is that Chicago convention?
I don't have that pulled up. Hang on. I'll have it by the time you're done.
That's all right. But either way, this is according to the Hollywood Reporter's Heat Vision. And great, now my browser starts saying not responding, but I got enough of it to take a look at. The company DS Arms Inc., which describes itself on its website as, quote, noted specialists in U.S. and foreign small arms weapon systems up to 50 caliber, end quote. The company's website also explains that it offers training to the end user for operation, maintenance, armors courses, and FAL rifles. So these guys got a booth at this convention. At first, it appeared that they were going to be banned, and then almost a couple of days later, the convention does an about-face and readmits the company. The whole point was they are not selling any real weapons at the event, in which Wizards Jerry Molina clarified in email to Heat Vision when asked about the confusion. We'll link the entire story in the show notes, but I want to get the panel's response to Wizard World Chicago allowing a company like DCS or DS Arms having a booth at a Comic-Con, and then the apoplectic mouth vomiting that comes out of some people who were just not happy with this.
Yeah, this is happening this weekend, and actually I just read, now you can decide for yourself on the veracity of this particular website, but a website called bearingarms.com just pointed out that their booth was up for about an hour and a half and then was taken down by con people. So the convention came through, decided that there were too many complaints about it, and took it down. So I'll throw that in the show notes, and we'll kind of see what the fallout is. Probably tomorrow, Monday or Tuesday, when this podcast actually goes live, we'll find out a little more information about that. So I don't think it's cool, but
Andrew, go ahead.
I think for one, if that's what the convention's okay with it, then these people, basically the convention has the right to make up its own rules as to what they will and won't allow. I think I do think, like you mentioned, it's really humorous. This comes on the heels of Baltimore banning, basically everything up to and including Q-tips.
Yeah, good point.
And I think you're right. People are just grossly overreacting, I think. Is this something I would personally want at a convention? No. But then again, I don't just because it's there doesn't mean I have to patronize the booth.
Right. My whole point was I was curious, and the Heat Vision article doesn't really state this, but they weren't selling actual firearms at their booth, right? That would have violated the Wizard World policy. So there's no firearms at the booth, from what I can understand. They're selling, I guess, non-firing or fake firing weapons or airsoft stuff, maybe stuff like that. Stuff that you could imagine a cosplayer wanting to use.
Stuff that other booths sell at conventions.
Yeah. Now I'm just curious. Have either of you ever been to like a gun show?
Yes.
I have two. We have one out here called Crossroads of the West. They're a very well regulated, safe environment. Like the way they have these weapons, roped down with steel line, and the ammo is in an entirely different area, kept away from it. Like, it didn't bother me one bit. Now, what selling, obviously weren't they selling real weapons, but I don't see why that has to be at a Comic-Con. So I don't see why people were getting bent out of shape over it. Really, people were getting mad because these guys were here selling non-lethal firearms or not real weapons, however you want to categorize it. And people were mad because they also, at their other locations or at other times, sell actual firearms.
Right.
Well, they were taking applications so there's a waiting period, of course, and so they were
Right.
taking applications to purchase real firearms. So that was happening at the booth, and they were also had a special Comic-Con, a Comic-Con special on their gun safety courses,
Mhm.
and apparently there was a big outcry about that, which is bizarre to me from a group that supposedly really wants to regulate how safe guns are and how much, how making sure that people that don't know how to use them don't get their hands on them. And the thing that bothers me, if this is inaccurate, and this actually went up on Friday, this little article that I just was talking about, and again, it'll be in the show notes. If Wizard World told them they couldn't, then told them that they could, they set up the booth, and then they just decided to come through 2 hours later and take them down because there was someone at the convention that was uncomfortable,
Mhm.
then it's not the convention. And while I agree with you, Andrew, they can make whatever rules they want. But to go back and forth 3 times on whether or not these guys are actually allowed to set up a booth there, especially given that they weren't selling live ammunition, they weren't selling live weapons. What in the world? This is bizarre to me.
Well, and again, like I said, they can make up whatever rules they want, but, and this is something in general I demand, have some level of internal consistency. Either allow them or
There you
don't
go.
allow them,
Yep.
but don't go back and forth. That's just kind of a dick move.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think they just underestimated the screaming fits that some people were going to have, because if you just
certainly.
I think it's just, if you just say the word guns, or I don't like guns, or I do like guns, any kind of combination thereof, people are gonna just lose all their bananas all
Never
at the same
mind it.
time.
There are Deadpools walking around with massive replica guns all the time.
All the time, yeah. And like, everyone there is reading comic books where people are getting shot in their pages.
We're literally about to
All the
talk
time.
about that in this podcast, about
Yeah,
how
so-
much violence there is in comics.
Well, and I was gonna say, you talk about, you mentioned just talking about guns, people losing their minds. The Twitter responses have been just, stupid is not the right word, because
Oh no.
it doesn't. Stupid is several orders of magnitude less than what we're getting.
This is like someone who cut their head open, threw their brain out, and then started to rip their clothes off and run around defecating, screaming, guns kill people, or something like that. I mean, that's really the level of intelligence we were dealing with
Yeah.
some of the Twitter responses.
Yeah, there's one group, and I've seen their stuff before. It's a comic website called the Outhousers, who in general I think are fairly stupid. Straight up, they're just very, very extreme views on anything, and if you don't conform to what they believe, then you're terrible and horrible and
The scum of the earth, yeah.
and a bigot and a racist and a sexist and etc.
Yeah. To quote Ben Affleck, it's gross, it's racist.
Right, but that we're talking about not even selling guns, but it's a company who does sell guns legally.
In
Right.
addition
So-
to other things,
Right,
which
but
they're
this-
allowed to do.
Right, but that's what my point. Like, this is something they are wholly allowed to do by law, right, protected by the Constitution. And they're comparing, the Outhousers start comparing them to human trafficking, forced genital mutilation, and then oddly enough throwing poisonous snakes at people. Like, I didn't realize that was like on the same par, but like, you got 2 things that are highly illegal and horribly detrimental to society, comparing to the legal sale of arms.
Oh yeah, just run down the real quick things that they say so people understand. And so they talk about wanting to set up booths for promoting human trafficking, performing genital mutilations at their booth, saying they were going to set up a booth for that. Don't forget to stop by our booth at Wizard World Chicago, where we'll be tossing live poisonous snakes at people. And then this stupid hashtag gun-free Comic-Con. I mean, it's just apparent that these
And the other one they brought up is
These-
men's rights,
oh yeah, someone else brought up, how about a men's rights booth?
which we mentioned before recording. I feel like you and I have seen that before.
Maybe, I just don't remember. I mean, look, there's plenty of really dumb booths at Comic-Cons. Right? Just everyone wants to get on it. And I get it. It's just a great way to get your name out in front of thousands and thousands of people. So, fantastic. But yeah, you're right. I mean, a right to own a weapon does not analogize to forcing human beings into sex work or chopping their genitals up or attacking people with snakes. This is just stop.
Right.
Stop.
I'm completely
floored. The fact that they're equating people who legally do that, who do this, legally, to people who are committing,
heinous violence against other people.
Heinous violence, things that depending on the scale, are considered crimes against humanity.
Literally outlawed internationally by the Geneva Convention.
The worst things we can do as human beings. I mean, there just isn't a comparison, and the fact that they're making that they're at least attempting to, is somewhat disturbing.
Yeah,
and I find it a little unfortunate that Wizard World ended up giving into what I think of as sort of a regressive terrorism. It's unfortunate, and again, like Andrew stated at the beginning, they can do whatever they want, but internal consistency is key. And honestly, why are we negotiating with these people? I don't know.
We do not negotiate with terrorists. God damn it.
We shouldn't.
All right.